Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Here at Moderna, we are really excited that you could join us, where we will be showing you task automation in Revit. My name is Brooke Leroux and I am the Key Accounts Manager for Moderna AEC, and I will be co-hosting the session today. Now I would like to introduce you to today's presenter, Dario Mariuzzi. Dario is an AEC application engineer within the architecture industry. This webinar will be recorded and it will be sent to you in the next day or so to recap on what we have covered here today. And if you would like to share it with any of your colleagues who were not able to attend, please feel free to do so. If you have any questions during this webinar, please post your questions in the Q&A section, and one of our technical assistants will be able to answer it for you once the webinar is completed. We would also really love to hear your feedback at the end of the session. A short survey will automatically pop up where you will be able to provide us with some valuable feedback. Without any further delays, over to you, Dario.
Thanks very much, Brooke. Morning, everyone. Hope we can have an awesome day. First thing, you know who we are, so let's find out a little bit more about you guys. I'd love to know who we're speaking to, and we'll have this poll up for about 30 seconds, just a quick little bit of information. And yeah, once done, we'll basically move off. Okay, so we've got just over half of us are designers, 22% of us are architects, no landscape architects today, pity, and 11% of us are engineers, and then 11 are other. And that's fantastic. All right, cool. So basically, what do you need to do in order to do the things you need to do in Revit? Now, that's a little bit of a tongue twister, but you need to basically look at the tool you're going to use. Say, for example, I'm drawing a floor or a wall. I've got to invoke that command. So my mouse has to move from wherever it was into the ribbon to the floor command. Okay. I then need to move to the drawing area after I've picked. And this is everything I'm basically explaining now. All these micro movements that we don't even think about are actually costing us time. Okay. And typically you have to execute maybe 5, 6, or 7 things in sequence to basically move on to the next step, move on to the next part. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you finish what you need to do. There might be some panning and zooming that you need to go through in order to maybe move the screen. Maybe it's a big floor that you're sketching. And then possibly repeat the sequence of things. For example, if I'm drawing a wall and I'm using the 2-pick method to draw, I've got to pick my first pick, and then I have to pick my second pick, okay, in order to get the wall in. Otherwise, it's just not there. So what is the reality in taking this sort of look at what you have to do in Revit? Well, every single item that you have to do, every single thing that you have to do, doesn't actually take a lot of time. I mean, to pick the wall tool doesn't really cost much, okay, maybe a second or two. But start stacking those things up and then look back at your clock, and that paints a totally different picture, okay? Unfortunately, though, the way the program works is a lot of these steps in the sequence are unavoidable, necessary. You can't get away with not doing it. So how's Dario going to save me time? Okay. Then let's add on another layer, which is that phone call that you're going to get from a client, or a phone call you're going to get from a colleague, an email message, or a WhatsApp from a colleague saying, have you had a look at the new add-in for Revit? And then there's the external factors, meetings, unplanned issues, load shedding. And on top of that, the repetition that you have to go through costs you valuable time. So how can we improve the reality? Well, we can't do anything about ESCOM. We can't do anything about load shedding. Those calls are going to happen and meetings are going to happen. That's just the nature of it. But as far as these little sequences are concerned, we can basically take a look there. A sequence is typically comprised of usually the same set of steps, which means we can map them, we can define them. We can say, I've got to do this first and then do this next. If I want to put a door in, I can't do it without having a wall there. So the wall's got to go in first. We can map and define these things. And usually you'll find, if you take a look at this, that these definitions or these mapping exercises are consistent. That's the key word, because if it's consistent, I can tell the computer, help me out, do some heavy lifting. Okay, I can tell it how to do it. Do step 1, execute step 2, step 3, and repeat as needed. And then if you take a step back out, the task that you're trying to basically accomplish is invariably a repetition of a sequence of a sequence of a sequence of events. And that basically means that I can tell the computer to execute each of these steps quicker. How's that possible? If I have to move the mouse from the drawing window to the floor tool, well, that's cost me 2 seconds. The computer doesn't have to do that. And that's basically how the computer will basically start doing the heavy lifting. And bear in mind, the computer also can't get a phone call. Okay? The computer can't get an email that it has to look at. The computer doesn't have a meeting that it's got to get to, unless, of course, you're carrying it. So what we're talking about is task automation. How do I make what I need to do happen on its own? Okay. Task automation, by definition, is rapid. It's fast. Okay. A lot faster than we can be. And it's repeatable. It's going to happen over and over again. There's a lot of repetition that's typically involved in these sorts of things, which means we can expect a certain outcome. We can expect something that we want to happen. We can predict it, which means we can rely on the outcome, which puts us at ease. So there's less stress. And here's the big one. It is deployable. So for all the directors out there, if I can have one computer do something in a second or 10 seconds, in order for me to train the next computer, I don't have to send it away for 3 days or a month. I can simply copy and paste. And the second computer learns, and the third computer, and the fourth computer. So after 20 minutes, I have not only myself, but an entire army of computers that can actually do what I need to do. That's comforting. So how are we going to go about this? Yes, you get the Revit API, but I need to be able to code in order to do that. Okay. Typically, difficult skills to basically get at, unless, of course, you have the propensity for it. But there is another option, and that option is Dynamo. So what is Dynamo? Dynamo is computational modeling. Okay. The computer is basically going to do things for you. It's going to require inputs and then give you outputs. Okay. It is basically what you need it to be. Okay. And we're going to go through a couple of examples today. I need to basically rapidly put in sheets. I need to create views. I need to model a stadium. I need to put in structural elements. Dynamo can be quote unquote programmed to do whatever you need it to do. So it's whatever you need it to be. A lot of people ask me what it is, and that's my short answer. It's whatever you need it to be. Okay. So now that I've let the cat out of the bag, how much exposure have you guys actually had to Dynamo? Have you used it before? I know what he's talking about. So we'll give another 30 seconds here, and then we'll basically move into a couple of examples. Okay, let's see what we've got. Thanks, Brooke. Okay, oh, ouch. Okay, 82% of us don't know what Dynamo is, okay. And we've got no hold my beers and no step aside juniors, and we've had an argument and I've won. So 18% have tried it once and have had a bad experience. Now, best suggestion I can give you guys, I promise you, is to push through it. You get to the other end, it's gravy. Okay. So a couple of examples. You can see here, this is an example of a stadium. And Dynamo, you can see the node, the graphs superimposed upon the imagery, basically generating conceptual complex geometry modeling. Okay, so you're able to use it to generate things in Revit for you. Okay, I'm then able to also use Dynamo in another way. So from a design standpoint, if I'm busy with a chair or a building, and I've got a form that I want to play with, I want to tweak, I want to adjust. It's parametric. I can basically have Dynamo crunch those numbers for me very, very quickly. And then, of course, I can use sliders and specific tools to generate multiple iterations very, very quickly. Sorry, I just see there's a chat. Where's the chat? Can't see anything I'm seeing. Sorry, Andre, you don't seem to see anything that I am showing. Can you not see my screen?
I'm sorry, Dario, I think there is a problem. If you could please kindly stop sharing and reshare, perhaps that'll help.
Okay, hang on a sec, guys. Sorry about that. How's that? Am I back up?
Yes, all seems to be well now.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. All right, so I'm going to go back a slide just to show you. So as I was saying just now, there's the opportunity to generate complex geometry fairly quickly in Dynamo. I can also then take that geometry, and before I send it back to Revit, basically look at iterations and explore what I'm busy doing. You know, I get a bit of a feel, a look and feel to play, and then create multiple iterations. Now, you may have heard of generative design in Revit 2021. That basically is a next level interaction to what we're showing here. It uses Dynamo as a basis. So yet another reason for you to hop into Dynamo, allows you to use generative design down the road. All right, so another Q&A. Okay, thanks, Andre. All right. And another thing that Dynamo is used for on a regular basis, and in my opinion, any firm that's dealing with Revit, is task sequencing and repetition. So the next example we're going to look at is putting a number of sheets into your model. That sort of thing is repetitive, it's mundane, it's boring, it's soul destroying. So we basically want to try and minimize the time spent on that. Okay. So as I said, we're going to look at creating a sheet. So simple little exercise really in Revit. All I need is a new sheet with a title block, a name and a number. That's all I need. How long does it typically take you? All right, so this is me with my new sheet, standard Revit operation. I'm going to take the sheet, go in, rename the sheet, renumber the sheet, and that's basically my exercise done. 37 seconds. Okay, it's not a lot, right? Not a lot at all. Okay, give me 100 sheets, please. And I'm going to see you in an hour. Assuming, of course, that's exact 37 seconds multiplied 100 times. So not accounting for any disruptions, distractions, which, as we know, is more than likely. That's basically over an hour, realistically. Okay. So we're going to switch over to Revit quickly. And take note of the fact that I have no sheets in my Revit model. Okay, so I'm going to start the Dynamo player, which is a deployable mechanism. So we shoot through here, and I'm going to go to my Create Sheets node. So just to give you an idea, this isn't Dynamo per se. This is the Dynamo player. what I was talking about when I said I can teach 100 computers to use the same thing. Well, look at it this way. If I put this Dynamo script that I'm about to run on a server and tell everybody where it is, all they need to do is open it up in their Dynamo player and they can basically do this. So I'd like to please edit what I'm looking for. I'm going to browse to my Excel file, which is there. Okay. And I'm going to open that. And I'm going to look at actually I have to open it in Dynamo. That's fine. I wasn't expecting to do that, but that's fine. So I'm going to change this to stage 1. So what I'm doing is in my Excel document, I have a stage 1 set of drawing numbers. Now 37 seconds per sheet, right? An hour to do 100. Okay. So let's go now. Close that. And then Revit. Simply close this down again and then restart it. And if I edit my inputs, there's S1. The title block that I need is going to be the A1 metric. So these are the inputs that Dynamo needs for me to basically do what I do. 37 seconds, right? So let's time it. Here we go. Okay, that is 11 seconds. Sorry. Oh, that's not over. Let's try that again. Run this one in Dynamo. So if we were doing this traditionally, we'd still be busy, maybe on our 4th or 5th sheet. Okay, so let's close that down. Wasn't actually checking, so that was the first run. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that sheet because that was wrong. But I said 100 sheets. Was actually lying with a straight face. So if I now go to my sheet list, which I don't have, so I'm just going to go and do that real quick. Sorry. Need a new sheet list. and I just need name and number, right? So that was, let's, for argument's sake, say a minute. To do 576 sheets. Okay. So 100 sheets in an hour manually, 576 sheets in a minute. This is what I'm talking about, the power of automation. Okay, I've now got 58 minutes to grab a cup of coffee and do other things. That's the power we're speaking about. Okay. So next example, we're basically gonna shoot into is the simple act of placing a tree. This could be a beam, it could be a car, it could be anything, okay? But while we're placing it, let's go and host it to the topography. And because it's a tree, we don't want every single tree to be facing the same direction because Mother Nature is all about nuance. So I've got to go and select the tree. I've got to go and drop it down. I've got to escape out to basically get out of the place the tree command. And then I've got to go ahead and I've got to rotate it using the rotate tool. Then I've got to host it to the topography because that was one of the pre-required conditions. 32 seconds to do that. Okay. Just so happens that I need to place 100 trees in this model because it's in Craig Hall or Sherwood Forest or the Amazon. I need trees. Okay, it's a requirement. It's talking about 53 minutes. So over an hour and a couple of cups of strong coffee, and we'll get that done. Okay. So that's basically what we'd have to look at. Okay. Now, to be fair, I did this old school and it is a longer process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do better. Okay. But I still need to copy the tree and rotate and host. So my technique here differed slightly. I was going to drop in a tree, use the rotate on placement option, pick, rotate, and pick, rotate. Okay. So that's 3 trees, a couple of seconds for the first. Then I need around about 15 seconds for the second, third, fourth, 100th, whatever. And then a couple more seconds to host it. So around about 26 minutes. So just under 30 minutes and some trauma counseling, and I should be back on the road. Okay. So we'll get to that in a minute. Back to Revit, and we can close that down. And we're speaking about trees. Okay, so let's start Dynamo Player. And what we're going to do now is we are going to put in a forest of trees. Okay, so I'm going to prepare Revit a little bit here quickly. In this little area here, I'm going to go ahead and do a forest. So I'm going to isolate category for those. And then okay, so we're going to do the trees. I'd like to edit these. Oh, sorry, I need to close Dynamo, do I? I forgot that it was open. All right, so in terms of process here, I'm going to come through, I'm going to select everything there. I've got 3 trees that I'm going to deal with here, so I'm not going to mess around too much, but I've put these in so that I could vary the different tree types that I have. I've got percentages here. So we're going to work with 100 trees total. I need 60% of the first one, 30% of the second, and 10% for the rest. Okay. 100 trees is what I'm going at, and I've chosen to occupy a minimum distance of 7.5 meters between the trees. Okay. And let's run it. So 26 minutes, okay. That was what, not even 10 seconds, okay. I needed to host them. So let's go and you grab a little trick here. Still on the clock, Dario. You'll notice they drop down. And then as I hide reset, I'm going to select previous. Sorry. I'm just going to filter out something dropped there. I missed a tree. And then I'm going to pick new host. And how's that for a forest? How's that for quick snap in a hurry? Okay. So this was the first tree. I've got 60 of, and obviously the rest of them. So very, very quickly able to randomly place, randomly rotate, and randomly, well, based on percentages, sort my trees out for me. So a matter of minutes as opposed to 26 minutes for an advanced Revit user, or run about an hour again, I think it was. Or was it? Yeah, about. Okay, and because we've got an extra little bit of time, let's run that again. Again, let's just use our trick. And there's my second forest, very, very quickly. Okay. So this is the power of automation, okay? Dario, you haven't shown us Dynamo. Fair enough, we'll get there, and we're gonna head there right now. So because the Dynamo player is open, I'm gonna close it. The next thing we're basically gonna look at is a technique that we might want to quantify things like, well, materials like how much asphalt I need for a road, if I'm dealing with context, how much grass I need to plant, that sort of thing. So in order to quantify that sort of thing, the principle I'm basically going to use is I'm going to take a floor and I'm going to modify the sub-elements so that it drapes onto my surface, okay? So for the purposes of this, I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to override the graphics so that it is slightly transparent. And you can see I've got this floor for my road over there. See the dark floor? But I've also got a sub-region that basically mirrors or mimics. It's the same sketch. So there's the subregion for a grassed area. I'm simply going to copy those to clipboard, finish my sketch, sort myself out with the floor real quick, and paste the line to selected levels. Level 1 will sort me out quite nicely. This is going to be some grass, kikuyu, and I'm going to go and finish that. So there's my asphalt and there's my road. So Dynamo needs to basically help me out here by taking this floor and draping it up onto my topographical surface. And we're going to start a new node. I'm going to do this from scratch. Okay. I want to select some elements in my Revit model. Select model elements. And I need 2 of those. One for the subregion and one for the floor. I'm just going to set this to manual quickly so that it doesn't fight with us. And then I need a sequence or a step that's going to look at my topography. And I want to get the points in that topography and then I need a floor, which I already have, which I'm going to use here. And then I'm going to take that floor and modify its slab shape by some points. Now, while I'm doing this, okay, just to give you a bit of an idea here, I did a node or interrogated a Dynamo script 4 years ago that did exactly what I'm doing now. That had over 40 nodes in it. I think that should pretty much kind of sort it. All right, so I need this to bake in. And the floor is what I'm going to bake. The topography is going to give me points, which I'm going to need there. And the floor, which I'm going to grab here, is going to modify itself. So that's basically my Dynamo script ready to rock and roll. Okay, I just need to basically come through and select model elements. So in order to do that, I'm just going to position myself in Revit a little bit better. So I'm going to need that guy and that guy, and I'm going to go hide isolate. Because as far as this guy goes, I need the topography, and as far as this guy goes, I need the floor. Now, traditionally, how you would do this is I'd go floor, modify, add a point, modify, grab, wrong one, tab, raise it up. Okay, and you see my floor starts deforming. Okay, I'm going to go and reset this because I want Dynamo to do the heavy lifting that fast. Okay. So that's a Dynamo script, 6 nodes, and I was able to basically do that. So if I now go HR, I can now come through and grab this guy and that guy and hide isolate, and then run through the same process again. Select model elements. I need the topography. Select model elements. I need the floor. And run it. So let's go HR. Set. And I can take this guy and then maybe raise him up 130. Curb. And then this guy I can raise by 50. All right. As opposed to doing it the traditional way, which would have taken you hours. Okay, let me just get Dynamo down here so that I can minimize that. Because believe it or not, the good folks at Modena have tried to make things even easier for you. So I think I closed Dynamo down. No, I didn't. So let's get that closed. I don't want to save that. We're going to go back into Revit. And we're going to look at an even quicker process. So I've taken what I showed you there as a basic entry-level Dynamo script, and I've tweaked and adjusted it slightly as well. So for this, I'm going to need the sub-region. So we'll do the grass first. Okay, I've got Kikuyu. I'm going to raise it by 130 and run it. Okay, so slight difference here. I've managed to basically, instead of sketching of the floor and doubling up on my sketch time, I have asked Dynamo to do all the heavy lifting for me. So come, Dynamo, lift. Apparently, I'm a little impatient, but let's swap this one out for asphalt now and get the last one in. And I want to change this offset to 50. And let's run that last one. All right, so let's minimize that. And if we zoom in here, you can see we've got our changing levels. And in the time it took the quick one to do 1, I've managed to go through and get 4 or 5 sorted out. And as you can see, these floors are following the topography quite nicely. I've obviously taken a lot of the time out of my day back for myself, and I'm able to now do something else with that time. Okay. Other options that we may have is, as far as Dynamo is concerned, is it's great that I can basically play with floors like that. I've basically been able to put trees in. So what I'm going to do now again is I'm going to isolate category and show you a couple of additional examples before we close off. So what I'm going to do is find that. And I'm going to open up my Dynamo Player again with a couple of the other scripts that I have. So I've done my floors, I've done my forests. I need to put some cars in here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so modification on the tree forest Dynamo script is instead of choosing an area, I'm going to choose a path. So I'm going to choose these couple of lines. All right, this is my Honda Civic that I'm going to put in. I've asked it to basically sit 12 meters apart, and I can obviously go and change these should I choose to. Let's go ahead and change one. Let's make it 15 meters. Okay, and let's run that one. Okay, and then I'm going to go HR again in Revit. Have a minute. There are my cars. Don't stress too much. I'm going to go and repeat the process with this, except I'm going to use the next script. So that one I used, those I used, HH, those out the way. And then I'm going to shoot back real quick. And right next door to my cars, I need a row of trees planted. Okay, so I'm going to go and use this one here. Again, very, very similar node, just works slightly different in that the previous one, I asked Dynamo to rotate onto a path. This one should be done. And I'm able to basically just get these things in and isolate that. and that. And then let's pop select again. I can close Dynamo down now. I'm going to get rid of the floors because again, I need to post these to the floor. And then select new post. That. So if I basically come through here and change the overrides here, our job for the day is pretty much done. What has actually happened here in terms of these two nodes, I've got my cars that are basically following the path, the line that I drew. On the topography, the shadows are on, so you can see the shadows there as we go up. They follow the path. And then the last thing that I did was the trees. Now, what I want you to take specific note of here is that as I move from tree to tree, the rotation differs for each and every one. Now, these two look like they may be a little similar. Fair enough. It just so happens that in terms of the randomization, that's what happened. But each and every one of those trees are rotated randomly, giving you, of course, the natural look that you were looking for. So in terms of my day, I've got my 576 sheets. I've got, how many trees do I have? Well over 200. I would say in the region of about 250 trees. And cars, I'm probably pushing about 40 cars very, very easily. And that is done in the time that you've obviously, joined us. So basically, what I want to know from you now is, would you be interested in any assistance with Dynamo? Bearing in mind that the samples that I've shown you today are a small amount of what you can actually do with Dynamo, and obviously leverage that back straight into Revit to basically facilitate your experience with Revit. So we'll give it a couple more seconds. And I'll just take this time to mention that, I've seen things from a structural standpoint. An entire building was basically set up using beams and columns and Dynamo, number sliders, changing the shape, changing the rotations, and you're actually able to save out an iteration and then interrogate it in terms of structural analysis. So you're able to do that. You've seen the landscape applications, modeling facades, rotating curtain panels, putting holes in walls, that sort of thing. From a service coordination point of view, everybody that deals with walls, so structural engineers and architects, listen up nicely. Look at the HVAC engineer's model. Wherever there's a clash with a wall, please put a penetration in for me. So the penetration modeling becomes an exercise of several seconds. So in terms of the results of this poll, if you can take a look, please, Brooke. 71%. Fantastic. Yes, we can definitely help. So we would like 14% that are going to need us to help out with graphs. We do offer that as a service. And we do have prepared Dynamo graphs. That's the Dynamo script that you saw me write, which can be availed. And nobody wants to do it on their own. Okay, well, that's reassuring to me. I'm grateful for that. Thanks, Brooke. But Dynamo is definitely the way to go to make those repetitive, mundane tasks fly by. So, in conclusion, if there are any questions, I would really appreciate that. So it's in the Q&A, right, Brooke?
Yes, we don't have any questions at the moment. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask, if you could please kindly put it into the Q&A section, and we will answer those live for you. Okay, we got a question from Francis. Does Modena give Dynamo training?
Francis, wholeheartedly, yes, we do. We have got several opportunities that we can avail you of. We have some standard Dynamo workshops, beginners workshops, and should you require anything custom, give us a call, and we will definitely be able to help. Correct, Brooke?
Yeah, that's right. We can definitely assist.
Fantastic. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay. Andre's written here. I'll take this from Brooke. With regards to training, how long would the training be? Andre, again, if you're looking for anything custom, anything customized, that would depend on the needs. We'd obviously have to assess that on a case-by-case basis. Dynamo workshops, beginning workshops, we have workshops that can last about 2 hours, half a day. I've done day training sessions with Dynamo in the past. So yeah, it's pretty much scalable and tailorable to your needs. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, perfect. We have another question from Martin. Would Dynamo be used for something much smaller scale or less complicated where there is less repetitive work?
Absolutely, Martin. So Dynamo is deployable as and when you need it. So my answer to your question would be, look at what you want to spend less time on, okay? And then let's see if Dynamo can basically be employed to achieve that for you. But I've seen Dynamo used on 9 square meter gatehouses as a project in terms of project scale, project size. So absolutely, I can use Dynamo on a huge shopping center, nuclear missile silo, or gatehouse. I've seen it used on pretty much everything. Industrial projects, commercial projects, offices, hospitals, absolutely. So yeah, definitely an opportunity to use it on a smaller project. Okay. If there are any other questions? None? Okay, fantastic. I'm just going to minimize that. And basically just let you guys know. Oh, sorry. I see there was one more there. Oh, sorry, that's Brooke. Thanks, Brooke. On the ball there.
No problem.
If you want to hit up our website, in the chat is a link, which you can see up on screen right now, but it's also in the chat if you want to copy and paste it. I highly recommend you hit these webinars up. And as you can see, our previous webinars are available on demand. So if there is anything that you are having a little bit of an issue with, hit the webinar up as a resource. At the very least, we'll be able to point you in the direction you need to be. But there's a lot of help there. And of course, there is more content coming. So yeah, highly recommend you hit that website up on a fairly regular basis because it's very, very fluid. There's a lot of change going on. So I'd like to take this opportunity from my part, and I will say on behalf of Brooke, but I'm sure Brooke will end off as well. Just to say thanks for the time. We really do appreciate it. And we hope that you were able to take something meaningful away from that. Time to level up, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dario. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. We look forward to having you on some more webinars. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to pop us an email or call us and we'll be happy to assist. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day and a good weekend.